Yeti.
Hi everyone, Namaste and welcome to today's session. Ecdf and I, Yati Parmar, Zonal Head Ecdf, and your moderator for this panel welcomes you all for this pivotal topic on Stem-Sational learning, what to look for in early childhood programming. So as we all know, STEM is a need of the hour, and earlier the children are introduced to it, it will be better for them and the world they live in, because these young minds of today are going to be the innovators of tomorrow. And if you're wondering how in the world do you introduce concepts of science, technology, and engineering to toddlers who don't even know how to read and write, then today's session is the answer to all your doubts. Before taking this ahead, I would like to introduce to all of you that we'll be having our global online conclave on 9th and 10th June, and will be live on Facebook, and you can have it on Zoom. The registrations are going on. Don't forget to visit our website and register as soon as possible. So taking it ahead, I would like to introduce you all with our esteemed panelists. We have on panel Lieutenant Colonel A. Sekhar, soldier, educationist, and education consultant. Welcome you, sir. So you have to unmute.
Yeah, thank you, Yati. Good to be here, and scared that in the midst of formidable ladies, what will a poor soldier do? Cheers.
We are so looking forward to your charismatic energy, sir. Next, we have Simran Balani, Associate Director, Chief Learning Officer, Little Millennium, Educationist, Curriculum Innovator, and Training Specialist. So nice to have you, Simran.
Happy to be here, Yati, and thank you for choosing me to speak on this subject. It is one of my favorite on which I'm doing some curriculum innovation. So thank you, and I'm very happy to be here. And,
thank you.
And hello to both of very senior educators and you. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Dr. Vasavi Acharya, Founder Chairperson, Ecdf. Hi, Vasavi.
Hi, Yati, and a very good evening to everybody.
So now I think we should take this ahead without wasting any time. We should start our session. And my first question is with Vasavi. Vasavi, can you just give us a brief intro about what is STEM and why is it so important to incorporate STEM learning during early years of education, particularly in today's scenario? Why is it so much important now? Over to you, Vasavi.
Right. Yati, thanks for your question. Let me put this on I'm sharing a screen
Yes.
that, very short, I would like to tell what is STEM. It's a blend of science and mathematics with engineering and technology. And STEM can refer to the subjects individually or if one is working together, in all of it in a way that it blends into each other. And these disciplines play a fundamental role in setting the foundation for future learning, as we all know, and therefore it's very integral that it should be introduced to children from their early years.
True.
Now, coming to these early years, I think the facilitators need to promote innovative thinking, thinking out of the box, doing their own things, making their own hypotheses. When we say hypothesis, looks like a big word, but generally, children, they come up with different things, different ideas, and sometimes which even grown-ups can't really, fathom about. Now, look at this screen where a little one is working on a toolkit. And basically, they learn about concepts and technology when they're exploring tools or simple machines and
True.
investigating how they work. So these different things from different toolkits in itself raise some level of curiosity to everyone to explore, experiment, and access outcomes, right? And
Right.
look at the other picture where the children are playing with different things and they are creating their own, whatever they fancy. So they're having a lot of fun doing it. And since they're all together, so probably they're all sharing ideas, sharing with each other, discussing and doing their things. So basically, while we are, following the STEM discipline, there's a lot of way of doing it, including reading, writing, solving problems, and sharing ideas. Right. So now,
Right.
if you tell me, why STEM is important in the early years. That's a very important question because
Very much important.
so many times people tell us STEM and all is what is this and why in early years where children are so small, and I mean, what is the point? See, there are a lot of advantages. So to name a few, I would like to say that teaching STEM in the early years enable them to make vital connections between everyday life and the STEM discipline. And always they are conceptually more clear on their things when they, do it through this way of learning. Now, another important thing is STEM is basically experiential learning. It is the hands-on learning that we say.
Yes.
So what happens, things get more clear. Now, when we look at the VAC concept, the visual, audio, and the kinesthetic, there are a lot of visual education happening. There's a lot of audio. And when children do it kinesthetically, when they're involving their body in the whole process, it becomes more clear, and they kind of learn it better. So that is, I think, very essential for children to get involved in activities and hands-on learning. And coming to STEM really helps when we ask the children to put on their thinking caps. Later, when we are talking more, I'll tell how they think so much. And when they're given the opportunity to think about something and come to their own hypothesis, what are the reactions and how they come about it, right?
True.
So it also inculcates creativity, innovativeness, and problem-solving skills, which are must for the 21st century. We know how upgraded we need to be and how much we have to think out of the box. And so if they start doing all of that since they're from their young age, it makes a lot of, I think, that learning even when they're grown up is going to be much better.
Right.
And it's also scientifically proved that knowledge retention is maximum, if children learn through STEM, because what happens is when it is only the visual or when they're not involved in the entire process, the retention never happens. It goes for even people like, even grown-ups, because when we are involved in something, if somebody tells us to, generally, I'm just digressing, but if somebody tells us about a recipe and we actually go and cook it, there's a difference. So you learn much more. And when you're doing it and learning, the retention is quite a lot. So these are, in short, some important benefits that happens from the STEM discipline. If you, and basically a brief about STEM. Yes, Yati. So I think I have made my
Right.
points. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So Simran, can you just help us? Like, if we all know that transforming the young minds into innovators of tomorrow, we enable them by learning by doing in STEM education during early years. So that is hands-on learning. If we talk about, what is your take in it? How can we transform these young minds in early age, and we can actually help them being the innovators of tomorrow? Over to you, Simran.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, of course.
So, coming from early child care arena, I firmly believe what we do with early child care in these 7 to 8 years stays with them. And if you see, children are born curious. They're always curious about things. What we need to do is just nourish that. All right. We need to generate and encourage their curiosity and make sure that STEM concept becomes a part of their everyday life. All right. And especially schools which are very keen on putting STEM into their everyday learning could have different stations which will encourage children to explore. And we need to let them explore and understand by their own way what STEM means. And then we need to correlate and make them correlated to the experiments that we do in school to their daily lives. Right? Could be
Right.
like a simple, like a car that they are playing with, and to the car that they're sitting in. How does it work? Something simple like that, right? Or the simple science experiments that we do with them, they can go back and relate back to their daily life. I think the more we simplify this and make it a part of their daily life, we are able to achieve this.
Right. So, your take on it? Sir, Colonel?
Oh, fine. Yeah. Good evening. Pretty much I agree broadly with what Dr. Vasavi and Simran have said. The key to it lies much more in its implementation and much more at the way we perceive STEM. In a present and a post-COVID world, a narrow focus on STEM only for jobs and job seeking. The concept of STEM has come in because, please understand my take on this. STEM as a principle, as a thought, I'm all for it. But I am also extremely worried about the over-structuralization of early childhood education.
Right.
From what we were about 30% earlier, now we are going closer to 60-70% structurization, where unstructured learning with the kind of thought processes they have to get involved with is somewhat less visible, where we want to push in and pump in much more into the early childhood, still developing mind. So I am all for STEM as a concept, but I have a lot of questions on its present implementation amongst all of us, because STEM has become STEAM. From STEAM, it has become STREAM. From STREAM, we have added HAS, and I have my concept of FILS. Have I confused all of you? Good. That was my aim. Back to you, Yati.
Yes, sir. Simran, yeah, what do you have to say?
Okay, so you
Yeah.
see, I was ready to say something.
Yeah.
So you know what? There is so much research being done on this early childhood education and what we can do with these small children. But I again will come back to the same point that it will help schools to bring in all these new concepts and make it simple for the children and teachers to follow. I mean, the lesson plans should be more of one way of learning it, right? We follow like a playway method. If we can introduce all these concepts and see where the child is going. We have also seen Gardner's they learn with different intelligences, right? So, I mean, we have to just see where what is working for a child, and what is working for one set of child might not work with the other. At the same time, what would work with a nursery child might not work with playgroup and might continue to working with LKG and UKG, right? And again, the curriculum that I'm working on for STEM, I'm trying to see the lesson plans are according to their age. and it is not too much overpowering that they're every day coming and there is a new experiment happening. No, it has to become a very slowly a part of their daily life. Like
My question is, do we require a structured lesson plan? I'm
yes.
asking of why.
Why?
Why
Because
would,
uh,
why?
yeah, I will answer that, sir. Because, like, say, for example, if I don't have a structured lesson plan, the teacher doesn't know what materials she needs to be ready with. Like a simple morning assembly can turn into a nature walk, which is one of the foundations for a child to get introduced to STEM. So, if it is a proper lesson plan, she knows that on Wednesday she can surprise her class by decorating her class. She can surprise her children by decorating her class in such a way, or prepare a station. Sometimes we have seen that we just lay out the blocks for children to build on something, and then we can say, oh, you've made this. This is something which is related to engineering. So if we have a kind of a lesson plan, we will be able to prepare ourselves, and the children, when they come in, they'll be more curious and surprised. It has to be fun also. I mean,
The preparation of the teacher is not what I am questioning.
yes.
I am basically saying early childhood education, important, etc., etc. All I am for it, right? I am extremely concerned about not even the basic structure. I am at
Okay.
peace with that. I am seriously concerned with the over-structurization which
I
we
agree.
are getting into.
Yes, we don't need
Whether
to
it
do
is,
that.
yeah, whether it is
We don't need to
Montessori
overpower them.
or anywhere else. So what now happens is, when we bring in the concept of STEM,
Right.
and Mr. Obama has done a great deal, and the Indian IIT industry has also done a great deal. What I am looking at is STEM as a concept is great, but having a STEM student without an understanding of what the arts and the humanities bring in, to my mind, wouldn't be the right balance. That is all I'm putting across.
Yeah, so well, then it depends on the curriculum that a particular school or institute is following. If you have a 360-degree curriculum, all right, where we are, as I said, we are putting STEM in a fun and learning way. Are we introducing other things also? Like we introduced etiquette learning and public speaking 2 years ago, and we are seeing the same shy children coming up on stage and speaking few lines with no fear. Right? So we did that at a very slow pace, and we did not force children to do it. We wanted to see what is their curiosity and what is their level of understanding of a certain concept.
No. You are talking of an individual person who has done research and following up. I am making the bigger point wherein we have the early childhood space coming up with a lot of commercial interests coming in, a lot of technology coming in.
Yes.
I am asking, see, I'm a soldier who has seen war, and I'm also an educationist. What I am concerned about is the over-structurization. Mr. Narayana Murthy is a great man, but he says, unless there is data, I will trust nothing. So when data comes in such a high level in terms of structure, I use data as a metaphor. When we look into it, the balance, the key word I propose to use is balance. When we have STEM came up, you see who used it. Initially it was, now with an acronym filled India where everything is focused on early childhood. We have double income single kid parents looking for STEM, asking for lesson plans, asking for syllabus, curriculum, all kinds of stuff. So this depends exactly beyond anything else on the way the teacher is going to deliver it. And
Absolutely.
the more structured it is becoming, I'm afraid that the joy of early childhood dissipates. I'm just playing a devil's advocate, respecting what you guys have put across and putting across an alternate point of view. Back to you.
No, actually, yes, you have a point there, Cornel. The overstructuring is there. It is in, when we are planning our curriculum, I would say that there is a set of expectation from parents as well. There are schools which follow the regio curriculum, and they are like, they come in the morning, they start discovering, they think what is the next thing to do, and they all work together at, it's a co-learner. A facilitator is a co-learner. There are no structured lesson plans and all in those kind of schools, generally what I understand. Like they do a very free way, a free deal about, learning. So it is not about today this topic and this theme and that, right? But then again, coming to your point, which is why we are structuring it in such a manner. I mean, every curriculum, every preschool do not structure it in such a way. Different preschools do it in a different way. They have different methodologies. They have different takes on how they are going to go about it. But then we have to meet the parents' expectations, some set of expectations, which we have to, but we keep it very child friendly. That is what we want to do, age specific and child friendly, so that nowadays, yes, you said parents with double income, but no time. Parents, they have, a lot of money and no time to give their children. Our parents used to spend a lot of time with us, teaching us about simple things, simple science, simple technology, which even I do with my own son. But nowadays, it's all parents' expectation from the school end. So we are trying to cater and give the best to the child in a way we are doing, and it is always innovation. So there is a lot of change coming, like STEM to stream to, SEAM to stream and all of that, right? So we are trying to do our best and innovating at that. Probably we may go wrong somewhere, like over structurizing or whatever. Again, that is going to change, because change is the only
Hopefully.
constant.
Yeah,
So
hopefully it will change, because my initial last point is we are having now millennial parents with centennial children, or even more, right? The millennials are the one who are almost always involved with Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Apple, Google. The attention spans are now coming down. We're talking about 8 to 10 seconds. So, and with now COVID coming in, screen time shooting up. Now nobody talks about screen time or anything of that nature. So I am pushing for a rethought into the way we look at preschool by itself. The expertise you have, expertise Simran has. See, in real terms, you guys might be outliers doing right in a manner which is unstructured. You must be the dream school which I think of. But I am not specific to both of you. I am trying to say the picture which I see when I visit preschools, when I see hyper demanding parents, double income single kid parents, they are outsourcing their parenting to the school, yet their expectations are different. So I just put that point across. Back to you, ladies. Let me see the presentation.
yes, we look at, we are more child-centric than parent-centric. There are institutions who are more parent-centric, I would have to admit, because we keep in touch with a lot of them. And
they are the majority.
They are the majority. We are more child-centric. And
Right.
for us, the child makes the entire thing. I mean, we don't even bother so much about what the parents are thinking about, but we are very concerned about the children.
That's why we are able to discuss this so freely here today, ma'am. Otherwise, I have no place here. Please continue. Back to you, Yati.
Yes, sir. So we see that we need a balance in STEM learning for the children in early age. That's what Colonel has a point, right? That the balance should be there. Overburdening should not be there on our children at such a tender age, when we are overburdening them with STEM and all that stuff. So my question to Vasavi is, as we talked earlier about that teachers play a pivotal role when it comes to curriculum and how they manage the children. So my question is to you that, as you know, teachers play a pivotal role in the growth of and development of children. It becomes all the more important for them to, incorporate STEM into their teaching and encourage their children to take interest in it and help them integrate into their lives. So how can teachers implement STEM, and what tactics they can use without overburdening the children and making it more fun and more joyful in learning for the children? Over to you, Vasavi.
Yes, Yati, thank you. Overburdening. Now we will not at all use the word burden now that Cornel is there.
Yes, no overburdening is should be
Yeah.
done.
So,
The burden of overburdening rests with the kernel. Please go ahead.
right. So, you know what, I would say a teacher's main thing is to facilitate the joy of learning in children.
Right.
It's a joy of learning. And we always should be those who promote a love of learning for the entire life, because we are still learning. Today is another day of my learning when I talk to Cardinal Simran, you, and, you know, when we keep interacting. So every day. So now we don't want to stop the children learning by putting them into a lot of structure
Yeah.
and lot of, you know, unnecessary knowledge from the top, you know, which usually some facilitators try to do. So if I give some quick tips about how to facilitate or support STEM discipline, facilitators may use daily routines to build skills and concepts through STEM. This can be done through talking, reading, singing, playing, using any other way, like Simran had said, whatever suits the child, you know, whatever suits that class. So the facilitator has to have
More child-centric in a way.
more child-centric. The facilitator has to feel that pulse of the children, what they want, what they are trying to absorb, and all of that. Another way to promote, you know, children's natural abilities in science and engineering. Now, I would not say they are scientists and engineers, but we have a brain which works like that, you know. So to express by observation, we work a lot on observation, and that observation can be said, drawn, or in whatever manner. When we do an experiment or whenever we do whatever play activity, we ask the children generally to say what they are feeling, what is their take on it, what have they seen, what is the outcome. So that is very important to, you know, for the teachers to understand, so that they work as co-learners and they become co-partners in the learning process. And teachers should involve intentional play activities, you know, while promoting this discipline. And I would say, if we generally take some idea of maths or science, when you say it's STEM, so let me start with science. You know, we can bring the concept of science to communicate about how they feel, how they smell or touch, you know, what is their whole sensation. For instance, if the weather is changing, they're in the class and suddenly it is raining, you know, they can be made aware of this thing that has happened, I mean the rains. So then the teacher can initiate their thinking capacities by asking them, what do we need to use now? So generally, I'm giving a just simple example. They would say, okay, we need a raincoat or an umbrella. That is how they, you know, get the life experiences and from the classroom into their lives. Using of maths, if we look at maths, when we are doing pink tower, we generally use a pink tower. We can just ask them how many pieces you have put, how have you, you know, put it up, how have you used the blocks in building. So these kind of small things, counting those things. If we look at technology, now we don't have to say anything about technology. Children are most of the time using the screen. So technology, I think we have to, or from this STEM, we have to reduce the technology bit a little. And yes, teachers should ask a lot of open-ended questions that encourages thinking. Like, you know, generally sometimes when we are doing hot and cold objects, we put an ice cube on a plate and it melts. So that is another question. How did this melt and why did water come into it? You know, how is this water? So there are a lot of things that the children ask, observe, and teachers can actually, facilitators can really facilitate the way they think. So there's a saying which says that don't tell the children what to look for, you know, when they're looking at the sky. Just show them the stars and not to see which stars they have to see. They'll figure it out. They'll do things, you know, they'll start thinking.
True.
And also, I feel that facilitators should follow the child's lead, because they need to observe closely and see what they are looking, what the child is interested at. You know, what is the curiosity level of the child, whether the child is able to make some discoveries, make some, you know, hypothesis, understanding this thing. So the exploration part of it should never be stopped. And that is where the learning, STEM learning comes in, you know, in that way, that where concepts get very clear. And sometimes, you know, there are a lot of times, I think Simran must have this thing, when children come up with such questions that we don't have an answer. And we need to think at that point of time, what should we tell them? So the facilitator should never think that they are somebody who knows everything.
Yes.
There are a lot of times when we really need to think, oh, what have they thought? Means they're thinking out of the box. And we are made to think like, you know, whatever was put on us, like that, our autopilot thinking. So that is very important. So that way, there are a lot of discoveries and things that we can do together. I would say you can use a lot of books of science about animals and science, like, to teach them the STEM vocab. And there are a lot of repetitive rhymes and all that we have, like Old MacDonald, Wheels on a Bus. Even those repetitive things also help children to enhance the STEM vocab. So when we talk about STEM vocab, it sounds very, technical and I don't know what, but if we generally give them
actually.
small words, there are some STEM words like pattern, design, cause. So we can just introduce small words like what made this thing happen? What is the cause for this? That the ice cube has become water. What is the cause? So they generally pick up that word. Or probably we can, just tell the children, make a design on this paper and let us build that design with the blocks. So, they learn the word design. So that is how they inculcate STEAM vocab in day to day. So this is nothing about pressurizing. It's just about making things very interesting. And I feel children, they love to, get motivated, and they feel very enthusiastic when teachers are trying them out, do this, do that, think and all. So there's a lot of sense to that, I feel. Yati, yes.
Yeah, I agree. The more it is engaging, the more it is interesting in a way. I think children love that way, and they're generally very curious when it comes to, STEM and all things. They are very curious. We see that curiosity in early age. But it also very important in how they reflect on what they have learned. So I think, Simran, do you have a take on it? I mean, how we can, allow our children to reflect on what they are learning and allowing them to, learn that way.
As Dr. Yasavi correctly pointed, that they observe and I think children are born scientists and engineers because they are either always observing, investigating, asking questions. They are sometimes measuring things, and they are designing, they are building. So that is already in them. We are just trying to connect the dots and make sense out of it. Okay, we are trying to channelize their curiosity and make sure that, as she rightly said, we don't have, as a mother of a 7-year-old, she is full of questions, right? But I don't have answers to everything. But what I try to do is I let her be with the problem for some time, because then they can try different things to solve that particular thing that they're working on. But I really, really believe that we need to make, in this whole training of STEM or even early childcare, a lot of patience and perseverance is needed, which I'll of course cover in my slides.
True.
So the teacher, the educator, the institution, all of us, when we introduce a new concept, any new concept, even if it is a color, we need to give children a lot of space to learn about it, to understand and absorb that. Like as simple as introducing red color. Like when you're doing it for the little ones, the entire class is in red with red balloons and red toys outside. The teacher is wearing red. We all have been asked to wear red. What are we trying to do? We are trying to send small little signals to them for them to understand this concept and take their time to understand. And we don't stop there. Maybe again in the theme revision, we do that.
True.
But yet again, it is not a pressurized thing that they have to do a test on red color. Right? Maybe they will learn after a month and they are traveling with their parents and they say, look, there is red color. Our job is done.
Yeah, right. I completely agree.
So we need to just give them a lot of patience from our side, just not the whole lesson plan or skill set. Answering to Colonel's question also, we have to have all of those things in place. And very important, one thing that we need to remember is that no matter how well we have planned the class for that day, the teacher has to have that option or has to have that training to go according to the mood of children. There might be 2 children who are not very happy. They've had a very bad morning and you have planned everything. Maybe you can come back to it during the day, but you had planned at 9. Children don't want to do it at 9. They are in some other mood today. One had some problem with the breakfast. One had the parent rushing and dropping them. So we also need to be flexible with our lesson plans, our structured curriculum, right?
True. So your take on it?
No, the ladies have explained it extremely well. I have very little to add on that. And once Simran has added patience and getting the child to reflect, my story is over. Socio-emotional learning to be integrated. That's the best way forward. That's how it should be.
Yes, sir.
Now, I have
Yes,
a different point highlighting the teacher's role. The average preschool teacher is less paid than the primary or, of course, the secondary STEM teachers. I'm using STEM advisedly here. That has to change. If you go to any school, and I've been lucky enough to be part of many, the preschool teachers tend to have the best of imaginations, and they tend to be less in terms of worried about how the class will go. I have a great deal of respect for the preschool teacher, and we have to change more than anything else our focus on the way we are looking at education per se. The imagination, the creativity, the problem solving skills, all those will only develop once we have high quality preschool teachers and of course training. The second part of it, to follow from training. What Simran said was the famous Ken Robinson video where he talks about he was making children draw something. He asked, how does God look like? And the child answered, wait for a minute, I'll show you how God looks like. Now, that's the kind of imagination we want children to have, right? As such, at home or anywhere else, we are very good. In fact, you will not be able to challenge me when I say schools are more regimented than the Indian Army in many ways. They are far too structured. We look at everything in terms of a structure because even now, and hopefully post-COVID, the teacher-centric schools, I'm going beyond preschools, we change into being much more student-centric. So the entire structure for the industrialized world, we have run schools. Hopefully now, in the present and post-COVID world, we will look at STEM, stream, or anything in a manner where what do we require holistically for the child and for us, for that child to develop. The child is going to see the 22nd century. We are not. And we require to understand that when these children, the millennials or the centennials or whoever is involved into it, are presently being given gyan in terms of learning, etc., be adults like us who do not know what's happening in the next 5 years. So in that context, we require to reimagine education, reimagine all our curriculum, and perhaps in that reimagination, focusing on high quality preschool teachers for the kind of skill sets both Dr. Vasavi and Simran have highlighted that requires a great deal of imagination. That's it.
Right, absolutely.
true, sir. Simran, over to you. She has a point.
I was on mute. So a few of points that Colonel said, I will just add to it. In our case, the teachers are paid quite reasonably well, but I'm sure everybody will think every school says that. And apart from that, I truly believe that teachers have a trickle-down effect to what they teach their children. So if I am empowering the teacher, if I'm educating the teacher, I'm working on the teacher enhancement program, which is a core area of my planning every year, that effect will go on to my children. All right. So maybe my few teachers may not be very well equipped with the STEM concept, and till I go to that point where I need to hire a STEM teacher specially and have that budget in my business plan for that year, I am doing my work to educate all of these teachers on what the STEM, how we are going to impart this curriculum. All right. So we are also trying to see where the teacher is growing with us, because if
Simran, you are not the person I'm addressing to in the big picture. Yeah, I am only highlighting out of the 15.5 lakh schools, your kind of schools would be less than 0.01%.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, sir, but this is a platform where we have a larger audience, and I'm sure this recording will be played to many more others, and there might be some schools or some parents or some teachers who will have little bit of takeaways from this. And if we as educators and administrators of schools can invest a lot in teacher enhancement programs, that will go a long way. So I understand, sir, I am a very small part in this whole equation, but I am looking at somebody who's looking at this videos much later, maybe not part of the audience right now, will understand that we can make a difference. You know, we all educators sit back and think, how can I make a difference? I mean, it is too big for me to do anything, but we can start. And these webinars, conferences, for me, act as a medium to send out that message that here are small ways which we can, you know, make a difference. And we are navigators, we are enablers in early childcare education. So whatever, we are just trying to channelize the energies which children have.
Fair. I'm all with you. My take is a teacher requires a minimum 100 to 120 hours of professional development and training every year to consistently perform about 70 to 80% of the time at her, and I'm using her advisedly, at her peak. And that has to happen. How many of us invest that 100 to 120 hours is where real transformation can take place? Back to you, Yati.
Yes, sir. Agree. So there is one point in our chat, and Sharad Bansal, he has a point. Please have a look on it.
Yeah, what is it? Yes, structure should be minimum in STEM. I would add that a structure in coverage, but unstructured in delivery can be a way. Agreed with you, Sharad Bansal. The point I am, and I think all of us are trying to highlight is, as teachers across the board, and the way our structure is, we look for structures. And structure is important at a particular level. You cannot have no data for salaries, or you cannot have, from a 4G perspective, not have how many guns and how many things are there. But what I'm trying to say, and it was highlighted by Simran in one of our points, is the teacher should be prepared for the unexpected, thinking socially and emotionally about the child. Precisely. I am only focusing on the right balance between training and structure. In a preschool environment, we have the global thing, we have the national curriculum framework, we have individual courses, syllabus from Montessori to the Canadian, the Australian, to the etc. models, any which way. So how the balance between structure and unstructured and getting the play part retained, perhaps Dr. Wasabi can answer it better. She's the expert, I am the layman.
Yes, sir. Wasabi, what's your take on it? You have to unmute.
Yes. Right. So how to balance, and yes, balancing is the prime thing that we need. Number one is, when we are looking at this training part that Cornel has said, that how much time we actually dedicate to training. I would say it's about training, yes, and it's also about motivation, because these teachers who are dealing with the children of that age group really needs to stay motivated all the time, and they need to have that enthusiasm. So I would not say technical training, it's also development of a lot of soft skills that is required while handling these children, number one. So when we are doing this trainings, Colonel, I mean, most of the, all these preschool brands are into training and all, and we from Ecdf also support government schools and others, so that the teachers are trained to actually deal with such children of such tender age. And I think that has made some difference in the society, in at least we have touched lives of few. And number two, balancing this entire thing of the teacher training, the teacher's performance in the class, observation. Now we have seen a lot of times that when we talk about assessment, there's a huge thing about assessment. And assessment is something very terrifying, whereas it should not be, because it is only not about pointing who is not able to do what and all of that. when it says results, parents' BPs go higher, and today is the result day. So, parents need to chill and not think about results or anything at this point of time, where we don't even test children, where there should be no comparison. So it is only about exploration, and the teachers with the right motivating skills, with the right soft skills in place. We don't look for MEds, we don't look for, technical teachers who come and open their books and all. It is about being with the children, being a part of them, and trying to take out the best, guiding them, facilitating them in the right manner. I think that is the balance that we need in our, teaching in our classroom and also outside the classroom. That I would tell to parents also, because nowadays parents are too harsh on their children. They expect them to be multi-talented from, I don't know when, 2 years, 3 years, they are in shows and whatnot. They look like they're killing. They are killing to me. I never watched those. I should, I mean, there should be no, without any offense, I'm saying, I mean, these are, sometimes it gets very harsh on children, I must say. But, and from my own life experiences, I've been an observer. I was someone who used to be monosyllabic, never talk much, ask, as answer in one word and all. But that observation in my life has helped a lot. So I feel the teacher should develop a lot of these skills in children, to observe, to explore, to participate, to come out with hypothesis, to question, never, stop them from questioning. And I think this works well in a class, and this is what is the structure we are looking at. Probably different people have different ways. Like if I say water, somebody says pani, somebody says jal, but the end of it, it is the same thing that we are looking at. We should all have a concerted goal, that is the student development, and we should go forward towards it. Whatever name we give it, whatever, whatever style. But this is the ethos that we need to maintain in our classes, and
True.
outside of it.
True.
I think that answers Cornel's question. I don't know how much I
No,
can
no,
justice to it.
no. I mean, the point was, it's a collective. You answered it extremely well. The teacher of the Americans have a concept of, I'm sure all of you would know, they've got a teacher of the year concept. They select, there are a lot of nominations, etc. And this time, the teacher of the year in the United States is a preschool teacher. And it's well worth going into what she has done. The video, her video, I was researching to talk to you guys. So I had gone through, that video is fascinating to watch. Teacher of the year, go through that. And I've been an observer of this for a while. And I'm somebody who believes that India should also have a teacher of the year concept. And that teacher of the year is given a year off, and she becomes an evangelist. And the way she has integrated preschool children with people, it was wonderful to watch in terms of learning a great deal from it. Yeah, your points regarding training, etc., completely taken. On a lighter side, I think there is a lot of money in parental training of preschool children. And that is where we should focus on, because there it is, we can go, because a huge amount of training is required for the preschool parent to be a balanced parent. And that's one area where you find that morning, afternoon, evening, if you are in a school of about 2,000 to 2,500, the biggest challenge is tackling the preschool parent in terms of making him or her understand, and especially with the belief that I know better than the teacher. So that concept comes into play. Yeah, back to you, Yati.
That's a great point, sir. So my question is to Simran. Simran, when you talk about techniques and strategies for STEM-savvy learning centers for kids, so what are those valuable tips you want to give to the preschoolers, the students, the teachers, and the providers? How they can manage it, what balance they can have it.
Yati, I have
over to you, Simran.
Yeah, thank you, Yati. Yati, I have covered this concept, exactly what you're talking about, very clearly in one of my slides. So I think if Dr. Vasavi is done, I can run through my slides really quick, because that will be a pictorial.
Yes, you can share your slides, Simran. You can share your slides.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes, sure.
Simran, there is an additional question. Can you share list of effective gadgets for pre-primary children? That's a question from Jitendra Sutar. You can answer that.
Yeah, correct. Currently, so all our years, my years, I have tried to keep my institute gadget free till now. Okay, and I have been very proud of
Same
it.
here, same here.
My
Without a
idea
gadget.
is that my children who are coming to my institute should be learners. Now, the learning could be through the reading board, the learning could be through themes, the learning could be through story. We are the only school in our area to sign up with British Council Libraries. So we get the books from somewhere.
Wow, wow, wow.
And we do.
British Council
That's amazing.
Libraries. Yeah, that's amazing. British Council made me what I am today. So doing that is something good. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So this was the concept which we had introduced in January of this year. And in fact, in the summer camp, the whole one area of summer camp was dedicated to have a British Council library book club, which we were going to have it over the weekends. And I'm still very hopeful that I will continue with that, sir. So I'm a gadget-free school till now. And my children only explore and they learn and they come and they communicate. For me, I need to integrate that social quotient in them.
That is important. Yeah. You have brought me in. I'll do a storytelling session with your children. Take it.
All right, sir. That will be awesome. I'll share my screen now, sir.
All yours.
Yes.
Yati, yeah.
Yes. You can.
I'm trying to figure this out. Give me a second. Are you able to see this?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I will quickly, Yati, how much time do I have to do this? How many minutes are you giving me?
You have 5.
5 minutes? Sorry, I
Yeah.
couldn't. 5 minutes. Okay. So I will pass through the points which Dr. Wasabi has already taken in her presentation because the audience has already seen that. So STEM integration in early years. So what I basically want to touch upon is STEM, how we can simplify it, sir, and how we can inbuild the STEM culture, not only in school, but at homes also. Some of the projects can have parents' involvement also. STEM education during early years, STEM in daily life, and sample curriculum. I'm on slide number 3. Can you see it? STEM simplified?
No, I think it's not visible.
Okay.
I think you have to scroll down.
Can you see it now? STEM simplified?
Yes, visible.
All right. So now let's see where the STEM comes from. Now STEM, of course, we've already gone through in her slides. Let's talk about how a world would be a darker place if it was not for Thomas Edison, right? And now Thomas Edison, in one of the, during a press conference, was asked by a reporter, "Sir, how could you have worked on your light bulb project after having been failed 4,000 times?" And he said, "I never failed even once. It was 1,000 times I was trying different techniques." So this kind of changes our way of how we think about failure. And he was all about perseverance. So we need to change our thinking when we are trying to integrate STEM into early childcare education. So he very rightly said, it's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. And I think if we can let our children stay with the problem longer, that will be the right thing to do. I'm going on the next slide, the STEM culture. Are you still able to see it?
Yes.
All right. So very quickly, the STEM, of course, needs to be part of child's learning. That is, of course, given. We have to, if the parents are with us, it can become a part of their daily living. Teaching in an early year becomes, they get a vital connection between everyday life and STEM discipline. It also lays down the foundation of future academic success, because what we learn in early childcare, research has been going on for years and years, and it has been proven. It goes on with us for life. And every new process, when we introduce, will have one or the other challenges. STEM will have its own. It is depending on education institute to institute how we overcome that. All right, very simply, what we can do to integrate STEM in everyday school learning at home. This is the next slide. Are you able to see this? STEM education during
Yes, yes, of course.
Yes, Simran.
So of course, teach them young, integrate STEM vocabulary, as ma'am said. Innovative teaching, very, very important. Let's not make it boring for them. If we are going to introduce concepts like STEM, we have to innovate our teaching. Encouragement and support. This is for educators. This is for your educators that we as institutes need to do. We need to encourage and support our teachers. Maybe I have something in my lesson plan, but my teacher has something more brilliant. I need to see it through. And we need to, if one of the class didn't go well, that is not the end of it. Identify a real world problem. If we can take them out on field trips, make them see STEM, how it works in real life. Last but not the least, active learning. As we talked about nature walks, as we talked about building up a ramp and seeing what is going down faster, what is going down slowly, something like that. All right, this is for parents who are there on the call right now. I mean, it is just not schools which can do this, it is parents also. You can do simple things like going on nature walk, doing cooking activity together, doing building activities together, exploring the grocery store. I mean, and simplest of all, playing with water. Yeah. This is kind of a sample curriculum. Are you still able to see this early years STEM's curriculum?
Yes,
Yes.
Simran.
So this is kind of a curriculum that I plan to introduce in my school. We have done it very simply. I'm sure you're not able to see it very clearly, but we have done it in 3 phases. One will be just the introduction, then the science and technology, which you can see in phase 2. And phase 3 will be engineering and math. And much before this is teacher training, of course. And this is what I believe in. In learning, you will teach, and in teaching, you will learn. So today also, we all are learning from each other. So if any of the parents who need some kind of assistance on this, or any of the educators, I'll be more than happy to help. Over to you, Yati.
Is it done?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Did I do it in time?
Yeah, of course, of course. So do we have any other question from the audience, or shall I just move ahead?
Yeah, I think there was this question, gadgets. Simran has,
Gadgets,
has quickly washed her hands off that question. Dr. Wasavi, what do you say? What gadgets? It's a big question. It's a very relevant question.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, it's almost like, it's almost like, how often do you beat up your wife? You know, it's such a loaded question. That way, what kind of gadgets? Do we have a choice in that kind of place where we are letting the children do what we know it's not right? Yeah, that's the question which we have. Yeah.
See, Cardinal, as far as the gadget goes, even I'm a gadget-free school, very frankly speaking, and we are very proud about that. And when we look at, there are a lot of these, I think too many are there now available in the market about different apps and different things that are there for children. Either they're learning, either promoting learning, promoting something, promoting some other skills, right? So there are a lot of things, and I feel the parent involvement is the best gadget if the parent is the gadget.
That's a good one. In fact, I use this. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
What happens is we just can't depend, and at times we can't handle these things. And and as parents, we have to have probably we are the gadgets at times. My kid wants a little puppy, and since I'm at work most of the time, my husband is at work. I think you consider me one from time to time. I'm game to it, but I can't get it. Sometimes we have to be.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah,
it is.
So it is. Parents actually need to be more responsible. I feel. I understand everybody is busy, but then the quality of time that we give children, it's not about giving them in their hands some gadget, some app to learn or to sing along with or whatever. These are things which has to be done under strict supervision, because we do not know where the child is going with all of that. So even if we are giving them some gadgets, later I might just check up and get back. But right now I don't have anything in my mind. But it has to be under strict supervision. And number two, parents are the best gadgets for the children, and they are actually
True.
Parents, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And
Parents as gadgets. That's a good
Uh,
metaphor to have. Yeah, but I'll add something to it. In Tamil Nadu, there is a video channel with over 20 million views. They update breakfast videos, lunch videos, dinner videos for children below 6. The videos are, a
oh,
child is having breakfast, there is a video, lunch, there is a video, and it took me a great deal of effort to ensure that my schools are gadget free, because parents hand over their iPad or laptops to the children to play. And one of the biggest questions children have in says, dad is married to the mobile. The ears and mobile, there is no space between them. The TV, the mobile, etc., all occupy a space. So that is a significant challenge as such. And I think Simran is going to answer the next question. Yeah, that's yours.
Simran, we have one question in the panel from the audience. That is, what to do for the rural areas students when it comes to STEM learning. I think you can cover it.
Yes,
And we have,
yes,
yeah,
I did reply on the chat also. I truly believe to penetrate this entire gamut of things that we have spoken about to rural area, one of the best way for educators like us is to start the volunteering programs. Without it, the penetration to the rural areas will take a very, very long time. I know of a
Great
71-year-old woman teaching students. This is all gadget free, by the way, making sure whatever
right.
students that she's having and making a difference in their lives, and this is all voluntary programs. So educators like us need to take that up. I am taking it up to teach facilitators who need training on how to go online. This is because this is the next big thing chapter which is happening in India. Similarly, schools like us, we can form an association and pick up maybe very small area of one rural part and go take it from there. We might not be able to make a big difference at this time, but to answer the question, ma'am, you can please reach out to me, and I will make sure that I can sit down with your teachers in rural area wherever you are keenly working, and we can make a difference there.
That's so sweet. That's really amazing. I hope all the questions are answered, and can we just move ahead from now as we are,
we have already exceeded time. There is one question about how to deal with parents, and sometimes parents are not very cooperative. Yes,
yeah,
that is always there. See, everywhere you will not find anything that works as per what you want and expect. So there are different set of parents. There are over involved parents. There are some who are absent. There are some parents who are not concerned. I mean, variety. And there are some who are helicoptering all the time after what the child is doing, right? So parents are always difficult to handle. But the best part
right.
is that except for a few ones, I mean, except for few who are very, very cooperative, there are times parents who are least cooperative with what the school is doing, or they don't just, want to understand. I think we need to counsel with those parents, like Colonel had said about that parent training programs. Actually, along with the teacher training program, we should actually start parent training, because from ECDF end also, when we were doing teacher training in the rural areas in 2-3 schools, we also saw that there is a lot of things that we need to tell the parents. It is teacher is one part of it, and the child then goes back home, and the rest of the teaching happens at home. So parents are our major stakeholders, and we need to be, I think, completely aligned when we look at the golden triangle, where the student is at the top, the school and the parent. We all need to work in complete alignment and in complete synchronity, and that is going to make a lot of difference. That is how I feel. Simran,
Yeah,
you want to add something?
I want to add one line, that it's much easier still to handle the rural parent. The urban parent is where little knowledge becomes Nobel Prize winning. the urban parent tends to be that much more difficult. Yeah, that's all I want to add.
Right. Any more questions which you
Simran
would
wants
like to
add
take up?
something. Simran wants to add
Can I
something.
add to this, please?
Yeah, please.
Coming to parent management, I like to call it as parent management program. A school needs to work effectively on that and make it a part of their business plan for the academic year. We do a lot of parent connect programs which cover some parenting topics: handwriting improvement, good touch, bad touch, etc. This is a forum to bring together parents, all right? And also we make sure that our facilitators are briefed before a PTM, all right? And we sometimes get to know there are some parents who might have more questions than the others. We need to be upfront in communication with them, because that makes our facilitators, teachers' life a little better. And this can be only an ongoing process. It cannot just happen 1 week before PTM. So the schools, especially as Sir said, urban parents, we need to manage them right from the day we start managing their children. All right. That doesn't mean we communicate too much. We communicate just enough. And schools are a body of rules. So there are some rules we need to stand upon. Maybe a parent will like it, maybe a parent will not like it. It depends on the coordinator, the administrations, how we communicate with parents. Right?
And there was a very important, there's a very interesting observation here. Somebody wrote that, do the parents actually understand that they require training? We'll leave it open-ended. We do not have to explain.
No, we don't have to, but I'd add one more point. The urban parent, and now increasingly the rural parent, has got a postdoctoral fellowship in the WhatsApp University of India. That's our challenge. You know, in that WhatsApp University, Simran, Vasavi, Yati, Shekhar, we are idiots of the 10th order. We know nothing. That WhatsApp University has said that. So that is our fundamental challenge, the information pandemic.
And that university is open all the time. That's the difficulty again.
It's open all the time. It has got some of the greatest, Clyde Christensen or the Harvard Business School president or Raghuram Rajan will be flummoxed by some of the answers which come there. So that's the challenge, and that I believe people like Simran really have to work doubly, triply hard, because you now have to sustain. You now have these Facebook, WhatsApp millennial parents whose belief in Mark Zuckerberg is more than you and me. And unfortunately, he's also a school dropout. So, that is the new challenge we will all face. The information which is coming to them, authenticating them, and that also makes the job of the average teacher that much more difficult in a blended learning environment.
True.
Absolutely, absolutely. True. So we have been getting many interesting observations by some of the attendees. But I think we are running, we have passed our time. Yes, Yati, what do you say?
I think we can wind it up now.
Yeah.
We can answer rest of the questions later. We can email them.
Yeah.
The answers.
Sure, we'll do that. We'll take them up. We'll take them up.
Yeah.
Even otherwise, WhatsApp University will be active, Yati.
Yes, of course. Okay, sir. So here we are to wind up this session now. And we had really a wonderful session full of some amazing, observations. Observation from Colonel's point of view, from Vasavi's and from Simran. And here we are at the end of this beautiful and interesting session. And we hope everybody's doubts were cleared to our best of the efforts, I think. Yeah, and just a gentle reminder for the Global Online Conclave on 9th and 10th June. Do not miss the opportunity and be there, because we have a stellar lineup of speakers. I think Vasavi can share the creative too on the screen.
I'll try that. I'll try that.
Yeah.
This is our conclave creative, and this is the conclave we are coming up with. And Our lineup of speakers is, just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just a moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this
We are
is
looking
quite
forward.
Stellar lineup of
it's
our
quite a
speakers.
panel. It's quite a
And
panel.
Cornel, you are with us.
Oh,
We are so glad to have you.
yeah.
The first global
Doctor.
online conclave for educators and stakeholders. We request all interested educators and stakeholders to join us on 9th and 10th. All information is
Yes.
available in our website, www.ecdforum.org, and our Facebook page, ECD
Also on
Forums.
LinkedIn,
Also on LinkedIn and Instagram.
This is, yeah.
Instagram. Yes.
This is quite a panel. You have got it, Dr. Vasavi. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Smriti, Simran, did you see too many ladies? You see how scared I am? I kept telling you this. Too many of them, they get them together. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay, so here we come to the end. Hope everybody enjoyed this session. Stay home, be safe, and keep learning. See you all in the Global Online Conclave on 9th and 10th with our amazing speakers out there. And much love to everybody.
Thank you,
Take
Yati.
care.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
lot,
you to all the
Yati.
panelists.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Cornel,
Colonel.
Simran.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies,
Lovely.
for sparing me some of your tough questions. God bless you. It was a wonderful session. Thanks to you, Simran. Thanks to you, Dr.
Bye-bye.
Vasavi. Thanks, Yati. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being a
Bye.
part.
Have a
Thank you so
great evening,
much.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye.